LinkedIn believes B2B marketing can be B2 brilliant, B2 bold, and B2 breakthrough. How? With a platform purpose-built to make B2B marketing mean more for your business. A platform with tools to help you build better relationships with your key customers, to boost your buyer's journey while building your brand. A platform with trusted data and lead generation you need to beat your KPIs, drive ROI, and stand out amongst the competition. And with the targeting tools on LinkedIn, you can reach your precise audience right down to their job title, company name, location, and more to make sure your ads are always seen by those who matter. So let's get ready to B2 boldly go where no marketer has gone before, because LinkedIn is where B2B is everything it can be. Rethink your B2B marketing ads and get $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/MPN to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/MPN. Terms and conditions apply. Entrepreneurs Enigma is a podcast for the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. So the wins and the fails that we all face being entrepreneurs, how we learn from adversity. Every week I talk to a different entrepreneur with a story to tell. I'm Seth Goldstein. Come with me on the journey. This is Entrepreneurs Enigma. Let's get started. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Entrepreneurs Enigma podcast. I'm Seth. I'm here with the one, the only Marcus Chan of the Six Figure Sales Academy. And this is an audio podcast, so you're not going to see his lower third, but he took the lower third and put everything in there. It's brilliant. So it's Marcus Chan, www.sixfiguresalesacademy.com/book. So go check that out. Hey, Marcus, how's it going?
Oh, Seth, my man, I'm excited to be here.
Oh, I'm excited that you're here too. This is fun. I enjoy having entrepreneurs out there. You know, you've done the corporate ladder. You look at your LinkedIn and it's like, holy crap, this guy's done a lot in 30 years. Like, you've done a lot.
I've done some things.
You've done some things. Exactly.
Made a lot of mistakes, mostly a lot of mistakes, but I've learned from mistakes.
But that's the thing. If you don't make mistakes, you're not learning.
That's right.
And you're not growing. And that's the thing that people have to know, is that even with entrepreneurship, is that it's one giant mistake sometimes. And you just got to learn from it and then make it better.
That's right.
Exactly. So Marcus, who is Marcus Chan? What's your background? Like, why, for those who don't know who you are, who are you, essentially? There's a wide open question.
Yeah, definitely a wide open question there. So I'm Marcus Chan, founder of Bentley Consulting Group. One of my key programs is Six Figure Sales Academy. So I help B2B sales professionals earn additional $50,000 to $100,000 more every single year in commissions and bonuses. Now, before I had this business, which I had this business for about 2.5 years, I never actually thought I'd be an entrepreneur. So that, we mentioned before, I did the corporate gig thing first. And I never actually wanted to be an entrepreneur because my parents were entrepreneurs. And when they came here from China and Taiwan, they had absolutely nothing. So the entrepreneurship I saw was working in the back of a restaurant, working 80-hour weeks, blood, sweat, and tears. Yeah, not making a lot of money, a lot of stress, a lot of headache, and being tied to the business. So I was like, that is not sexy or cool to me. Like, that's really hard work. If there's a way I could,
and you also lived it too, right? You were also working in said restaurant.
Oh yeah,
blood, sweat, and tears alongside your parents. So it wasn't like, you were seeing this from afar. No, you were in the kitchen.
Oh yeah,
working the restaurant from a young age. So it was like,
absolutely. I mean, 5-6 years old. It. I'm in the kitchen, like chopping vegetables. I'm like wiping out. I'm bussing tables at 6.
So you know how to cook.
Yeah, I can cook all right. So
you can go. Well, one would hope that you can cook.
Yeah.
You can cook a few things.
So there were some benefits, obviously, from that early on child labor, in which learning how to cook became very useful down the road. But
your
the time
knife
you don't
skills
appreciate
are probably really top notch.
Yeah.
Your
when
knife skills,
pretty good, right? Pretty good. My wife's like, "How do you know these things?" I'm like, "I don't know. Doesn't everyone know?" She's like, "No." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." Anyway, so did the restaurant thing. Was like, this is not. I don't want to be an entrepreneur. Like, let me go get a corporate job. My parents wanted me, of course, be a doctor, a lawyer, accountant, engineer. That's very typical of Asian families. I said no to all
Jewish
those
families
things
too. It's the same thing.
Yeah, right. I'm like, not gonna do any of those things. I'm gonna go into sales. And then when I dove into sales, I didn't see it as sales. It was like a startup division of a big company in which I had to build this business from nothing. So did that. Yeah. So that was really interesting. That was during the last recession. All right. So 2007. So
that's even more painful than just starting from something from nothing. Yeah.
Right. So you dove into that. That was really challenging. That's when I cut my teeth into sales. I mean, it was straight like door knocking, cold calling, high activity. How do you close people as a field territory? Very, very hard with no training.
Like hardcore sales. Like when you think sales. Like that,
Like that's how it was. Eventually I figured it out, had success, got promoted a bunch of times, built multiple 7-figure opportunities or locations from there. And then I actually made it to switch to a whole new company. Basically the same thing as somewhere else as well. Had a lot of success. Got to a point where, running a really big organization of about 100 plus employees. And, we had it was wild. I mean, we were a Fortune 500 company and had a big organization and we were crushing, et cetera.
Wow.
People kept saying, Marcus, how did you do all this? I'm like, do what? Like, I don't know. I just worked really hard. Like how did you get promoted?
Because
10
when
times
you're
in 10
in
years?
it, you don't think. You're just doing.
Yeah, like I'm just being me. Like I'm still just that kid who grew up with a speech impediment, who struggled and worked in a restaurant. So I'm like, that's just who I am. I just work my tail off. So that's why I just thought it was. And then I started thinking about this. I'm like, oh wow, I guess I have done some pretty neat things. And people say you should write a book. I said, that sounds crazy. I'm not gonna write a book. I should write an ebook. And this is actually when I started learning how to make money online. I figured how to write an ebook.
It's amazing.
Started making some money online. Had no idea. This is before like I knew this was like this is 2015. I'm like,
so it just started being a thing when everyone's like, has to have an ebook.
It was a side hustle, just a couple $100 a month, nothing crazy. Then I was like, hey, let me figure out how to build an online course. It took me 2 years to figure that out because I was traveling nonstop and did that. And then made like $2,000 overnight. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a good opportunity.
There's something there. Right? Yeah, there's something there. Right? Holy crap, yeah.
So eventually, like, you also because of the level, the role was, and the income I was making, all the equity and stuff, it was like, okay. I always told my boss, I'm like, I will never leave to go work for another company. If I ever leave, I'm just going to stop working and do my own thing.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, whatever. So that's exactly what I did. So
like,
once I'm like, I'm like, because it's when you grow up just working all the time and doing things, you never really stop doing anything. I'm like, I'm gonna do this. This will be my new season, my new project for the next several years. Let me just go do this. So that I dove all in September 2019 and went all into the business. So now we've been doing this
right before the next Michigas, the next crazy.
Yeah, right. So that's what we've been doing. But that's what we're all about here. So yeah.
We're going to take a quick break, hear from our sponsors, and get right back to the show. LinkedIn believes B2B marketing can be B2 brilliant, B2 bold, and B2 breakthrough. How? With a platform purpose-built to make B2B marketing mean more for your business. A platform with tools to help you build better relationships with your key customers, to boost your buyer's journey while building your brand. A platform with trusted data and lead generation you need to beat your KPIs, drive ROI, and stand out amongst the competition. And with the targeting tools on LinkedIn, you can reach your precise audience right down to their job title, company name, location, and more to make sure your ads are always seen by those who matter. So let's get ready to B2 boldly go where no marketer has gone before, because LinkedIn is where B2B is everything it can be. Rethink your B2B marketing ads and get $100 credits on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/MPN to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/MPN. Terms and conditions apply. That's wild. So what's the best thing about being an entrepreneur? Because I'm sure you know what the best thing is about being in the corporate world. You have a little bit more security. Sales, not always so much, but you have a little bit more security than an entrepreneur. What's the best thing about being an entrepreneur?
You are the author of vision. To me, that's the absolute best thing. There's one thing that I've always, I believe one of the reasons I was able to have success in corporate America was because I've always had that mindset. So whatever role I was in, I'm like, what could I create and just do? And of course, you gotta do it within the bounds of corporate America. So there's all these restrictions. As an entrepreneur, there are no restrictions, which is like good and bad because you're also like lost. You're like lost for a while. Like, what am I supposed to do? Am I doing the right thing or wrong thing? You have no idea. So being the author of vision allows you to create and be limitless and do whatever you want. But every decision's either good or bad. It's all on you, though. That's the only downside.
Yeah, exactly. And that kind of goes into the next question. What's the worst thing or the scariest thing about being an entrepreneur? I think I know your answer probably to be.
That's the opposite, right? It's the same thing, kind of, but it's that uncertainty because you're like, well, I made this decision. I really hope it's the right decision. There's no direction. There's no one saying, Marcus, Seth, this is the right thing. This is the wrong thing. It's like, well, let me just try. This is actually why every Friday I write down every big decision I made for the past week.
Well, that's a good tip.
So that way, so this way I have a feedback loop. I'll look back. I'll be like, ooh, this is a good month or bad month. I can look back at what decisions did I make a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. And oftentimes that's when we see the result later on. So then I can make a better decision as a result.
So it's really down to mindset, and like, because you can set your mindset based on that and saying, okay, this went down, that went down, great month, or this went down, that went down. Oh my God, well, that was a month. That's wild.
Yeah,
that's wild.
So that's why we have to have tracking systems. This is why I track every data point. And
wow,
I measure exactly how
I don't have the attention span for that. Yeah. I try tracking my time, and I'm like, I could do it for a few days. I get some insights. I'm like, okay, good, I'm done.
Yeah, totally.
I'm just too ADD. Yeah. I'm like, squirrel. Oh, I missed 5 data points. Oh man.
Sure.
So that kind of thing. But it's fun. Yeah, but it makes sense, and I think everyone has to at least, if they want to see where the time is, do a time study for like a few days.
Sure.
Even just a few days, and see where your time went those few days. And you can say, whoa, I can optimize here, here, and here. You don't have to go as far out as Marcus over here who does it every single day. But you should at least do some.
The thing is, the more you track, the better it's going to be, right? So, and I'm not talking about just your time. I'm saying you should measure every possible component you can measure, right? So I measure every part of my sales funnel. So, like, for example, I know, like, even someone that joins one of my programs, I know in 13.44 days, they're getting a result on average.
Wow.
So when you understand that, when you use data to make better decisions, you can refine and improve things. Like, I know on average, it takes about 14 days for someone to enter one of my sales funnels and then hand me money in 14 days.
Wow.
So when you know data points, you make better decisions. You refine, you improve.
That's very true. Yeah. And so you have your own firm, Bellini, right?
Venly, close.
Is it just
it's a made-up word?
It's
not a real name. It's made up. It's totally made up. Turns out all the cool names are taken. It just sounds.
Hey, the domain name is free.
Ven means to sell, right? In Latin. So, like, but having 2 syllables, it flows a little more. So we had to create a random word to actually get the domain. So we're like, well, this sounds good. Let's go with this.
Exactly. But then in the process, you start your company in 2019. You say goodbye to corporate America. Say, hey, look, I'm not going to go join another company here, but I'm going to join my own company. I'm going to do my own thing. You're on the Forbes Business Council since 2020 during the fun times of 2020, and then you're in sales, then you're the top sales influencer 2 times over, not just once, but 2 times over for Salesforce. So let me guess, you can't stand Salesforce.
I personally don't even use it, right? Like, I use Slack if they own, but I don't use Salesforce, right? So, like, it's one of those things where as you get like recognized by the other things, like, you can't use everybody. It's kind of like
you can't. It's all impossible. These clients,
and they're like, "Can I sell to you?" I'm like, I can't switch every time I bring on a client to something else. Like, I'm sorry, it's impossible, guys.
Try this out. Exactly. But you're also one of the top voices over at LinkedIn, which is, I mean, a lot of people in our space, B2B, love LinkedIn. And it's a really great space to grow your audience and interact. And heck, I reached out to Marcus on LinkedIn and said, hey, I'd love to have you on the podcast. And it's a great thing. So, you're accomplished, you've been out there, but you've really gone from rag to riches. You've gone from one type of entrepreneurship to another. You've seen the spectrum almost. It's really cool. Like, you've seen like hardcore sales, hardcore like entrepreneurship, like the traditional kind of entrepreneurship, of the olden days, to this newfound realm of online entrepreneurship. And it's wild. So here's a question for you. What is the most important thing to carry with you all the time?
To carry, like, physically on me?
Either
or
one.
Like mentally?
Wherever you want to go.
Okay. So the most important thing to carry on me at all times. Okay. So here's a really simple one. Critical thinking skills. Okay.
That's a good one.
I find not enough people have critical thinking skills. And they take in a piece of information and then they're like, that doesn't work. You know, they read a book, oh, it doesn't work. Someone gives them advice, that's not going to work. Oh, they read the news, that's real, that's fake. Well, apply some critical thinking and come to your own conclusion about whatever you're consuming, right? So when every single day we have incoming information from everywhere. It's our job as a human being, if you want to be a good human being, in my opinion, is you learn how to filter the information, process it through a critical filter, and have ways to actually understand what it's all about, to make a decision on your own, and to not just follow the masses. And if you do that, you're going to have a happier life across the board. 100%.
Such a simple thing. You think that it's not that hard.
Oh, yeah.
Take in,
it's wild.
filter.
So, I mean, let's talk about like LinkedIn, right? So LinkedIn, for example, like I could put a post up there and like I'll put my opinion, and then a bunch of people are like, that sounds great. And then there'll be a percentage of people like, that's totally wrong. You did not include this. I'm like, okay, obviously there's exceptions to the rule, and I'm just saying generally, and I'm not writing a like 10,000 word essay going through the pros and cons and different situations. This is just a 1,500 character post about a simple opinion. Chill out.
1,500 characters. Now we're talking about 1,500 words here, people.
Yeah, chill out. Don't take it so personal.
People have opinions on everything.
Correct.
You can say, I like my left foot better than my right foot. And they're like, you're wrong. And I'm like,
they're like, you are wrong. Your opinion's wrong. I'm like, that's my foot, though. It's my preference.
My preference. I like my left foot better than my right foot, or whatever. Sorry,
that's
guys.
Right.
You know, I like both of you
that's
equally.
Right.
You know, don't piss off your feet. The one will give out on you.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But, so Marcus, where's the best place for people to find you online? Like where is Marcus all the time when he's not at home with the family?
Yeah, so my go-to place online is probably going to be LinkedIn for sure on there. I'm also getting really big into YouTube as well. So YouTube is a relatively new platform for me, but YouTube has been a cool spot for me personally because I can do like longer form content on there. So I've been on there for about 2 months now. I think we have like, I don't know, 47 different videos now, and we probably have
like for 2 months,
30, 40 hours.
That's a good turnaround.
Oh yeah, we've been very consistent. So it's allowed me to put out like long form content, like 30, 40 hour long trainings on there to be able to actually help people. So that's been really, really nice to be able to do that too.
That's awesome. That's so obviously it's Marcus Chan MBA on LinkedIn. I'm cheating. Yep. I'm looking at it right now.
It's
that
totally
kind of
cool.
thing.
Yeah.
And then how can they find you on LinkedIn? Just go to Marcus Chan.
Yeah, just look up Marcus Chan, and probably one of the first people to probably show up now. There's a few out there, but I'm probably one of the first ones. But you'll see it's got a bright yellow profile head picture, which makes it stand out, makes it easy to find. Yeah,
so look for the bright picture. That's Marcus. And then also, of course, because he put this in his lower third here, check out sixfiguresalesacademy.com/book. And what's over there? Right. Is that your ebook or is that a book?
Awesome. Great question. So years ago, I was like, I'm not going to write a real book. I decided this year I'm going to write a real book. So it's good to go. That's actually the wait list for my new book, 6-Figure Sales Secrets. It's the ultimate guide to overfilling your funnel, closing more, earning the top of 1%. So that'll be launching at the end of August 2022.
Ooh, we'll have to get you back on to talk about that.
It'll be fun.
Wild. Well, I'm going to go sign up. I'm going to go sign for the pre-register. That's awesome, man.
Love it.
So, Marcus, thank you so much for being on the show. This is great. And everyone, go follow this guy. I mean, he's prolific on LinkedIn. I mean, the value that he gives is astronomical. And you have a business. You want people to sign up for your course, clearly. But you're giving so much value for free. And it really goes down to what, Ivan Meisner, I think, of BNI says, it's the giver's game. You give, you give, you give, you give, right. You give, and eventually it comes back around. Or Gary Vaynerchuk says, jab, 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 right hook, that kind of thing.
There you go.
And exactly it's so true. You just keep giving, and this guy, he gives. So, Marcus, thank you for being on the program. I really appreciate it.
Hey, if you're enjoying Entrepreneurs Enigma, please give us a review on the podcast directory of your choice. We're on all of them. And these reviews really help others find the show. Also, if you're getting value from the show and want to buy me a coffee, go to the show notes and click on the link to help me stay awake while I bring you more great episodes to your ears. That's in the show notes, and I look forward to the next episode. Take care, guys.
Goldstein Media hopes you have enjoyed this episode. This podcast is one of the many great shows on the MPN Marketing Podcast Network.
This podcast is coming to you on MPN, the Marketing Podcast Network. There's another show on MPM you might enjoy as well. I'm Gordon Glenister, and I'm the host of Influence, the global podcast that shines a spotlight on the influencer marketing industry. And each episode we talk to brand managers, agency strategists, influencer platforms, industry thought leaders, and the influencers themselves about the latest trends and stories affecting the influencer marketing industry. And their stories will certainly inspire you. So just hop over to gordonglenister.com or search for Influence, the global podcast, wherever you normally get your podcast from.
This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.